Hello, I'm Jaw Reality, and welcome to the Reality Self-Protection channel. I'm a fistload and self-protection specialist, analyst, writer, advisor, and lifelong practitioner. So there's a particular knife that has recently gained a lot of attention in the knife community. That particular knife is the Beckwith Covert by Fisher Blades. While this knife may be every bit as fantastic as people claim, and I don't doubt its quality, it's not the focus of today's discussion. Although I'd like to own one eventually, alongside a TKF Nightshade Reverse Tonto, those are $200 plus knives. While they might perform exceptionally in self-protection situations, they come in at a high price point. And while some might argue, how much is your life worth? The reality is that most people won't spend $200 to $300 plus on a knife. In fact, many everyday folks are hesitant to even spend $50, let alone $200 to $300 plus. The Apple River stabbing trial demonstrated that one doesn't need an expensive knife to cause serious harm. Similarly, the rising knife crime in places like England shows that high-end knives are unnecessary for such impact. Many proponents of these $200+ knives for self-protection often overlook an important point. If you ever need to use a knife in self-protection, which hopefully never happens, the police will likely confiscate it. They'll need to investigate the incident to determine if your actions were justified, and even if you acted lawfully, your knife may not be returned quickly, or even at all, depending on the circumstances and jurisdiction. From personal experience, I know what it's like to have a weapon confiscated by law enforcement. When my stepfather tragically passed in 2019 due to his mental health, because a firearm was used, it was taken by the police for over a year for investigation. When it was eventually returned to my family, it was in terrible condition, nothing like when it was taken. So, based on my own tragic experience, I have come to understand that if you ever have to use a weapon for protection, there's a good chance it will be taken and potentially held, potentially indefinitely. Personally, I'm not willing to EDC a $200+ knife for self-protection when I know there are quality knives on the market for a fraction of that cost, if you know where to look. For self-protection purposes, many budget knives can perform just as well as high-end options, regardless of what some enthusiasts might say. One such knife is the Takumitak TKF3S06 muted, which this video is actually about. Here's a quick rundown of the specs. Fixed blade, full tang. Overall length, 6.5 inches. Blade length, 3 inches. Handle length, 3.5 inches. Blade style, Tonto. Blade material, 3CR13 stainless steel, 54 to 56 HRC hardness. Blade thickness, 3.2 mm with a black oxide hollow grind, plain edge. FRN handle scales with a FRN pressure retention sheath. Now, I haven't personally handled the Beckwith Covert, but from what I've seen in videos and photos, it's not exactly something I'm so eager to get. I hadn't even heard of Fisher Blades until a YouTuber I follow discussed the Beckwith Covert. However, I am definitely familiar with TKF knives, and if I had to choose based solely on pictures and videos, I'd likely pick the TKF Nightshade Reverse Tonto. Still, this video is about the Takumitak TKF3S06 muted, which I believe has a better design for self-protection, all while being budget-friendly. Although I haven't owned the Beckwith Covert or the Nightshade Reverse Tonto, I have owned 2 Ka-Bar TDI knives. While many YouTube videos claim to have found the best self-defense knife, I don't believe any knife is universally the best. However, some designs are better suited for the task than others. In my opinion, up until now, aside from push daggers, the original Ka-Bar TDI knives have had the most practical designs for this purpose. And in my own personal opinion again, the Takumitak muted has a similar design that I honestly think surpasses pretty much all the Ka-Bar TDI knives, especially the Ka-Bar TDI Pocket Strike, which was the worst of them all. As YouTuber Donnie B. Allday said in his review, which inspired me to ultimately check this knife out for myself, the Takumitak muted is a single-purpose knife intended for self-protection. Donnie B. Allday's review is not only one of the best reviews about this knife on YouTube. As of right now, one of the few reviews available for this underrated budget-friendly masterpiece. While super steels were often seen as desirable, they're not essential for causing serious damage in a defensive situation, as tragically demonstrated in the Apple River stabbing case. According to Donnie B. Allday, the team at Takumitak does excellent heat treatments. And from conversations with various knife makers, I've learned that high-quality heat treatment can often outweigh the benefits of so-called super steels. Because a knife with the best steel can at times be outperformed by a knife with lesser steel but superior heat treat. This has made me more skeptical of high-priced fad horse steels and more interested in companies' reputations for heat treatment expertise. In summary, the Takumitak TKF3S06 muted is an outstanding single-purpose knife. If you need to use it in a justified defensive situation and it ends up being confiscated, you won't be out $200+. You could easily stock up on replacements while waiting for law enforcement to conclude their investigation. So if you're looking for a reliable, affordable self-protection knife, definitely check this one out and check Donnie B. Alday's review of the knife because it is certainly more in-depth than mine. In conclusion, don't wait until it's too late. Equip yourself with tools that can be the difference in being the victor or victim. Always remember that everything is a concept and theory until you prove it to be a fact for yourself out in the real world. And that's just the reality of things. Once again, I'm Ja Reality. Thank you for watching this video on the Reality Self-Protection channel.